There is a forest on this planet, so vast, so ancient, and so deliberately hostile to human presence, that even today, scientists who enter it sometimes do not return. It covers more than 5.5 million square kilometers. It produces roughly 1/5 of the world's oxygen, and it is home to a number of living things that by any honest measure should not be possible. The Amazon rainforest has existed in some form for at least 55 million years. In that time, it has not simply grown. It has evolved, competed, refined. What lives inside it today is not random. Every creature is the product of millions of years of selective pressure, shaped in an environment where the margin between survival and death is measured in milliseconds. We are going to count down 10 of the most dangerous animals within that system, not simply because they are frightening, but because each one reveals something about how this forest truly operates. As we move deeper into this list, the nature of the danger shifts. The early entries are painful, the middle entries are lethal, but toward the end of this countdown, something changes. The threat stops being physical. It becomes invisible, systemic, and far more difficult to escape. Number 10. The bullet ant in the lowland forests of Nicaragua, Bolivia, and Paraguay, nestled at the base of ancient trees. There are colonies of insects that have no need for size to make themselves known. The bullet ant Paraponera clavata grows to roughly 1 inch in length. It is not particularly fast. It does not chase its prey across great distances. And yet, it is regarded by entomologists as producing the most painful insect sting ever documented by science. The sting was formally catalogued by Justin Schmidt, an entomologist who spent years developing what is now known as the Schmidt Sting Pain Index. His description of the bullet ant sting has become something of a landmark in pain research. The sensation, he wrote, is pure, intense, brilliant pain. Like walking over flaming charcoal with a rusty nail embedded in your heel. It rated at the very top of his scale, a position no other insect has matched. The venom delivered in that sting is a compound called ponerotoxin, a neurotoxic peptide that disrupts sodium ion channels in the nervous system. It does not simply cause pain. It overrides normal nerve function. The result is pain that does not peak and subside the way most stings do. It builds. It radiates, and it persists, in many cases, for a full 24 hours. What makes the bullet ant genuinely unsettling is not the sting alone. It is the context. The ant does not sting to hunt. It stings exclusively as a defensive response, which means that in the Amazon, where these colonies exist in their thousands, the danger is not that they will seek you out. The danger is that you will not see them until it is too late, and the bullet ant, as alarming as it is, exists at the comparatively manageable end of this list. Deeper in the forest, the danger compounds in ways that are far harder to simply step away from. Number 9. The piranha, the rivers of the Amazon basin, are not simply waterways. They are ecosystems unto themselves, carrying billions of gallons of dark, tannin-rich water through channels that in some places stretch wider than most cities. Within that water, visibility is often no more than a few inches. What moves beneath the surface is largely unknown to anything looking down from above. The piranha has existed in popular imagination for decades as a creature of almost mythological menace, a fish capable of reducing a large animal to bare bone in minutes. The reality is more measured, but no less unnerving upon examination. The black piranha, Serrasalmus rhombius, possesses a bite force that, relative to its body size, exceeds that of most predators on Earth. It exerts, by some measurements, 30 times its own body weight in jaw pressure, a ratio that even large sharks do not achieve. The teeth are triangular, interlocking, and self-sharpening. Each one fits precisely against its counterpart in the opposing jaw. They do not tear, they shear. Which is why, in the moments when piranha schools do attack en masse, the result is not a slow process of consumption, but something that happens with a speed that researchers who have observed it still describe with discomfort. Group attacks on large animals are rare in normal conditions, but in the dry season, when water levels fall and food becomes scarce, Behavior shifts. Thousands of fish may become concentrated in isolated pools. Anything that enters the water during that period operates under different rules. It is worth noting that by this point in the countdown, both animals discussed have something in common. They announce themselves. You can, with care, avoid the bullet ant's nest and the piranha's pool. What follows on this list will not be so cooperative. Number 8. The electric eel. It is not technically an eel, Electrophorus. Electricus belongs to the knifefish family, and its relationship with electricity is not a defensive trick or an occasional adaptation. Electricity is its primary sensory system, its primary hunting mechanism, and should it choose, its primary weapon. The electric eel generates current through 3 specialized organs that occupy roughly 4/5 of its body length. The main organ and the hunter's organ produce the high-voltage discharges used for stunning prey. A third organ, the sax organ, generates low-voltage pulses for navigation and communication. These systems operate simultaneously, independent of one another, in an animal that can grow to nearly 2.5 meters in length and weigh close to 20 kilograms. The discharge itself peaks at approximately 500 volts, roughly 4 times the voltage of a standard electrical outlet in the United States. That discharge lasts approximately 2 milliseconds. But the eel can deliver it in rapid succession, and recent research has revealed a behavior that was not documented until 2016. When highly threatened, the electric eel does not simply discharge and retreat. It leaps. It coils its body around the threat in a kind of electrified embrace and discharges repeatedly at close range, maximizing the current transmitted through direct contact. A single shock is painful and disorienting. Multiple shocks can cause unconsciousness. And in the shallow rivers and floodplains where the electric eel is most commonly encountered, unconsciousness is not a temporary inconvenience. Unconsciousness in water without assistance is a death sentence. There is something particular about this animal that deserves a moment of attention. It does not need teeth. It does not need venom. The Amazon has produced a predator that kills with physics, and that is only a preview of what this list still holds. Number 7. The poison dart frog. In the undergrowth of the Amazon, there are frogs that do not attempt to hide. They are small, often no larger than a thumbnail, and they are colored in combinations of yellow and black, blue and orange, red and green. The kinds of hues that seem designed to attract attention they are. The brightness is a warning. In nature, it has a name, aposematism. The message it sends to potential predators is precise and unambiguous. I am not hiding because I do not need to hide. The poison dart frog accumulates alkaloid toxins from its diet, ants, mites, centipedes, and beetles, and secretes them through its skin. The golden poison dart frog, Philobates terribilis, found in a narrow coastal region of Colombia, is considered the most toxic vertebrate on Earth. A single individual carries enough batratoxin to kill, by conservative estimates, 10 adult humans. Batratoxin works by binding permanently to sodium channels in nerve and muscle cells, holding them in an open state. The result is uncontrolled nerve firing, uncontrolled muscle contraction, cardiac arrhythmia, and, if the exposure is sufficient, cardiac arrest. There is no antidote. It acts within minutes. The golden poison dart frog does not bite. It does not sting. It does not chase. Simply handling one transfers enough toxin through the skin to induce serious physiological disruption. It is, in that sense, one of the most passively lethal things that exists. A small, motionless, brightly colored object, sitting on a leaf that can end a human life through contact. The indigenous Mbafe people of Colombia gave the genus its common name. They used the frogs as secretions on the tips of blowgun darts. They did not need to pursue their prey. They simply needed to touch it. Number 6. The wandering spider. Up to this point, the dangers on this list have been largely immediate, painful, venomous, electric, but localized, predictable. in the sense that an encounter requires proximity to a known habitat. The Brazilian wandering spider operates on different terms. Phenutria, whose name in Greek means murderous, does not build a web. It does not wait in a fixed location for something to come to it. It wanders across forest floors, through dense undergrowth, and, more importantly, through the agricultural zones, storage facilities, warehouses, and homes that now border the Amazon's edges. It has been found in fruit shipments, in banana crates, inside clothing and shoes left on the ground overnight. It is catalogued by Guinness World Records as the world's most venomous spider. Its venom contains a complex mixture of neurotoxins called PHTX3, which attack the nervous system, and, in male victims, cause a prolonged, painful, and involuntary physiological response that has, in recent years, attracted the attention of biomedical researchers studying treatments for a different condition entirely. But its true danger is not the venom alone. It is the temperament. The wandering spider, when threatened, does not retreat. It raises its front legs, displays its body in a threat posture, and attacks. Repeatedly, multiple bites in a single encounter are not uncommon. And given its range, expanding as the forest's borders shift, and as global trade carries it outward, the likelihood of encountering one without expecting to is higher than most people realize. Before 1996, the documented death toll from wandering spider bites in Brazil alone stood at 14 confirmed fatalities. An antivenin now exists. But antivenin requires that medical care be accessible within a narrow window of time. In the deep forest, that window is not always available. We are now at the midpoint of this list, and it is worth pausing here, because the first 6 entries share a common feature. They are animals that can be avoided with sufficient knowledge and sufficient care. What follows cannot be avoided by knowledge alone. The next 4 entries do not simply threaten those who are unlucky or careless. They threaten the structure of the ecosystem itself, including the human beings within it, and some of the human beings far beyond it. Number 5. The Amazonian giant centipede. The Amazonian giant centipede, Scolopendra giganta, is the largest centipede species on Earth. It reaches 45 centimeters in length, nearly 18 inches. It is not the kind of creature that needs to be sought out to command fear. It commands it by existing. But what makes this animal genuinely remarkable and genuinely dangerous is not its size. It is its appetite, and the methodology it has developed to satisfy it. The centipede is a multi-kingdom predator. It does not limit its diet to insects. It actively hunts tarantulas, small lizards, frogs, mice, and small snakes. But the most remarkable documented behavior involves bats. In cave systems throughout the Amazon basin, Scolopendra giganta has been observed clinging to the ceiling, with only a few of its 42 legs, using the remainder to reach into the colony below and seize bats mid-roost. It holds the bat aloft, suspended from the rock above, and consumes it while it is still alive and struggling. The precision of this behavior, the grip, the reach, the mechanical stability of an animal anchored to a cave ceiling by a fraction of its legs was not something anyone predicted. It was observed, documented, and then observed again. Because the first researchers who saw it had difficulty accepting that a centipede could be doing that. Its venom, delivered through modified front legs called forcipules, is a complex mixture that causes immediate, intense pain in humans, followed by fever, chills, and localized tissue damage. There is no confirmed adult fatality on record from this species, but a child reported to be 4 years old died following a bite. The centipede does not target humans, but in the dark, on the forest floor. That distinction is not particularly useful. Number 4. The black cayman. The previous entries on this list are, with one exception, relatively small. The black cayman is not. Melanosuchus niger is the largest predator in the Amazon ecosystem. Adults commonly exceed 4 meters. The largest recorded individuals have approached 6 meters in length and weigh close to 400 kilograms. It inhabits the slow rivers, oxbow lakes, and seasonally flooded grasslands of the Amazon basin. During the dry season, when water levels drop, it becomes more concentrated and more aggressive. Between January 2008 and October 2013, documented attacks on humans numbered 43. The majority were non-fatal. A meaningful minority were not. The black caiman does not hunt the way most people imagine large predators hunt. It does not typically pursue. It waits. It submerges itself in shallow water and holds position for hours, its eyes and nostrils barely breaking the surface. It uses the river itself as camouflage, its dark coloration blending with the tannin black water of the Amazon basin in a way that makes visual detection nearly impossible until the animal moves. When it does move, it moves with a speed that is physiologically difficult to accept from an animal of that mass. The initial strike is followed by a death roll, a spiral rotation that generates rotational forces that bones, tendons, and connective tissue are not designed to withstand. It is worth knowing that the black caiman was hunted to near extinction through the mid-20th century, its population reduced by perhaps 90% due to commercial hide hunting. Conservation efforts have allowed the population to recover, which means that in the Amazon today, there are more black caimans than there were 50 years ago. That recovery is, from an ecological standpoint, considered a success. The ecosystem requires apex predators to function, but it does mean that the river, at night, in the dry season, is not the same place it was when your parents were born. Number 3. The insects. A collective warning: this entry does not belong to one species. It belongs to a category. And that categorical nature is precisely what makes it necessary to include here, and to include it where it sits, near the top of this list. The Amazon rainforest is home to an estimated 30 million insect species. The number is not a metaphor. It is a scientific estimate derived from decades of sampling, and researchers believe that a significant portion of those species have not yet been formally identified. In every cubic meter of Amazon forest floor, in every leaf, in every body of water, something is alive that may be unnamed within that category. The mosquito deserves particular attention. Anopheles mosquitoes in the Amazon are vectors for malaria. Aedes aegypti transmits yellow fever, dengue fever, chikungunya, and Zika. The forest provides ideal conditions for both heat, humidity, standing water, and an abundance of warm-blooded hosts. Malaria alone kills hundreds of thousands of people globally each year. The majority in tropical regions with conditions similar to the Amazon basin. The mosquito does not threaten through force. It threatens through volume and through patience and through a biological mechanism that turns the mosquito's body into a living delivery system for pathogens that can persist in a human host for years. A traveler can leave the Amazon, return to a city thousands of miles away, and fall ill weeks later from something that entered their bloodstream in a single encounter they likely did not notice. This is the invisible threat that the earlier entries on this list do not represent. The jaguar that will appear at number 1 is frightening, but you can see a jaguar. You cannot see a mosquito in the dark. Number 3. The green anaconda in the flooded forests and river systems of the Amazon basin, in the swamps and marshy floodplains that border Venezuela, Brazil, Ecuador, and Peru. There is an animal that the forest itself seems designed to conceal. The green anaconda, Eunectes murinus, is the heaviest snake on Earth. Adults regularly exceed 5 meters in length and weigh more than 200 kilograms. The largest confirmed individual measured approximately 8 meters and weighed close to 230 kilograms. Unconfirmed reports from deep within the forest suggest animals considerably larger than this. It is not venomous. That distinction matters less than it might seem. The anaconda does not need venom because it does not need to kill quickly from a distance. It kills through constriction, a process that, contrary to long-standing belief, does not work primarily through suffocation. Recent physiological research has shown that constriction primarily kills through circulatory arrest, The snake's coils increase pressure on the cardiovascular system until blood can no longer reach the brain or the heart. The prey does not slowly suffocate. It experiences rapid cardiovascular collapse. In the water, the anaconda is something different from what it is on land. On land, its mass makes it slow. In the water, it can move with a speed and silence that is genuinely difficult to reconcile with its size. It uses rivers and flooded vegetation as cover, approaching prey, capybara, cayman, deer, wild pigs, with a patience measured, not in seconds but in hours. There are documented cases of anacondas attacking humans. They are rare, but the key word is rare, not impossible. And in floodplains where a 5-meter snake is submerged in dark water 3 feet from the bank you are standing on, the rarity of the statistic offers limited comfort. What the anaconda represents, at number 2 on this list, is the point at which danger becomes purely environmental. You do not encounter an anaconda. You enter its world, and it becomes aware of you. Number 1, the jaguar. The final entry on this list requires a different kind of consideration, because the jaguar, Panthera onca, is not simply an animal at the top of the Amazon food chain. It is a mirror. And what it reflects tells us something important about this forest and about what is actually most dangerous within it. The jaguar is the largest felid in the Western Hemisphere. Adults measure between 110 and 190 centimeters in length, not including the tail, and weigh up to 135 kilograms. Its jaw is the most powerful of any big cat, pound for pound. It does not kill its prey with a throat bite, the way lions and leopards typically do. It kills with a single bite directly through the skull, piercing the brain of its prey between the ears, a technique that requires a bite force capable of penetrating a cayman's armored shell. The jaguar hunts at least 87 documented species. Humans are not listed among them. Not because the jaguar cannot kill a human. It can and it does. But because human beings are rarely present in jaguar territory in sufficient numbers, or in sufficient vulnerability to appear statistically in the diet. But this is the detail that earns the jaguar its place at number 1. Not its strength, not its speed, not even its documented attacks, which do occur. In regions where habitat loss has compressed jaguar territory and human settlement simultaneously, what earns it the top of this list is what is happening to it. The jaguar is endangered. Its population has declined by nearly 50% over the last century. The primary cause is not disease, not competition, not natural predation. The primary cause is the Amazon itself shrinking because of deforestation, land clearance, and the expansion of human activity into the last remaining wild systems on Earth. The jaguar is at the apex of the Amazon food chain. It regulates prey populations. It structures the ecosystem around it in ways that cascade through every species below it, including the insects, the birds, the fish, and the plants. When apex predators disappear, the systems they maintain begin to collapse. And the Amazon, as a functioning system, cannot be separated from the creatures that define it. The most dangerous thing in the Amazon rainforest is not the animal that might kill you. It is the process by which the forest that contains all of these animals is being dismantled. This countdown is complete, but the story it tells is not. The Amazon rainforest is still the most biodiverse system on the planet. It still processes more atmospheric carbon, generates more oxygen, and shelters more undiscovered life than any comparable region on Earth. Many of the species within it have not yet been named. Many of the mechanisms by which it sustains itself are not yet understood. What has been documented, what this list represents, is only the surface of a system that runs far deeper than any camera or research team has fully reached. The next layer is darker, and what remains hidden within it may matter more than anything shown here.